You know that moment, right? The video call freezes mid-sentence, the game lags right when you're about to win, the movie just stops. We all love the freedom of Wi-Fi, but the real secret to a super stable, rock-solid connection, it's probably hiding in your walls. It's the humble CAT5E cable, and today we're gonna pull back the curtain and give this unsung hero the attention it deserves.
Yeah, it is one of the most common frustrations out there. And look, Wi-Fi is amazing, it's convenient, but for pure unshakable speed and reliability, you just can't beat a good old-fashioned wired connection. That solid link between your router and your computer or your game console, it all starts with this cable.
So what is this thing, really? It's not just a bunch of wires in a plastic tube. Inside, you'll find what are called twisted pairs of copper wire. Now, think about it like this. When you twist the wires together, they kind of create their own shield against all the electronic noise and interference from other devices. It's a really simple but totally brilliant design, and it's why it's been the foundation of wired networks for so long. So let's talk numbers. What can this cable actually do? Well, it supports speeds up to 1 gigabit per second, which for most of us at home or in the office is plenty fast. It operates at a frequency of 100 megahertz, and get this, you can run a single cable up to 100 meters. That's over 300 feet, longer than a football field, without losing the signal. And inside you've got those 4 twisted pairs we just talked about, which we're going to look at right now. Okay, now that we know what the cable's capable of, let's peel back the outer jacket and see what's really going on inside. Because understanding the anatomy of this thing is the absolute first step if you want to learn how to make your own custom length cables. Inside that cable, you're going to find one of two kinds of wire. There's solid conductor, which you can think of like the plumbing pipes inside your walls. It's meant for permanent runs that don't move. Then you've got stranded conductor, which is more like a flexible garden hose. It's perfect for the patch cables that you plug and unplug. The main thing to remember is that they each need a slightly different type of connector. All right, now for the fun parts, the colors. Inside every cable are 8 little wires, and they have to be arranged in a very specific order. There are two main standards for this, T568A and T568B. Just think of them as two different dialects or languages. Both of them work perfectly fine, but for the conversation to actually happen, both ends of the cable have to be speaking the same language. As you can see here, the only real difference between A and B is that the green and orange pairs are swapped. That's it. Now, T568B is way more common here in the US, but honestly, it doesn't really matter which one you pick as long as you're consistent. If you wire one end as T568B, you have to wire the other end as T568B. Simple as that. Okay, this is where the magic happens. Learning to put your own RJ45 connector on a cable, what we call crimping, is just a fantastic skill to have. It lets you make any cable the exact length you need for a super clean, professional setup. Let's walk through it. So before you start, you're going to need a few things. Obviously, the cable and the RJ45 connectors. You'll need a special crimping tool, a simple cable stripper, and some cutters. But listen, the most important tool on this list is the last one, the LAN cable tester. It's a small investment that is an absolute lifesaver. It'll tell you instantly if your connection is good, and it will save you so much frustration. All right, here's the whole process in a nutshell. First, you strip about an inch of the outer jacket, but be careful not to cut the little wires inside. Then you untwist the pairs, fan them out, and get them all flat and in that T568B color order. Snip the ends so they're all perfectly lined up, then carefully slide them all the way into the connector till they hit the very end. Grab your tool, give it a firm squeeze to crimp it, and you're done. Now, test it. And hey, don't sweat it if you mess up the first one or the second one. Everybody does. These are the most common mistakes people make. The biggest one by far is getting the wire order wrong, so just double, even triple check it before you crimp. And please, please, always test your cable when you're done. Trust me, it'll save you a massive headache later. So, you've mastered the art of making a perfect cable. Now what? Well, let's zoom out and look at where you can actually use these skills. This is where that humble CAT5E cable really comes to life and becomes the backbone of pretty much our entire connected world. I mean, you'll find these cables literally everywhere. At home, they're what give you that lag-free connection for your gaming console or your smart TV. In the office, they're making sure your video calls are crystal clear. And now they're also being used to connect and even power smart devices like security cameras and Wi-Fi access points. Okay, now this is where things get really cool. Have you ever heard of Power over Ethernet, or PoE? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a technology that lets you send both data and electricity over a single Ethernet cable. That's right, one cable for everything. It's a total game changer. The beauty of it is just how simple it makes things. Think about installing a Wi-Fi access point on the ceiling or a security camera on the outside of your house. Normally, you'd need an electrician to run a power outlet there. But with PoE, nope, you just run one Ethernet cable and it gets both power and data. It's so clean, so simple, and so much more efficient. We've covered a ton of ground here, but it all comes down to one big question. In a world where there are newer cables like CAT6 or even CAT7, is the good old CAT5E still the right choice for your project? Let's figure that out. So here's the deal. For the vast, vast majority of things you'll do today, at home, in a small office, CAT5E is more than enough. It handles gigabit internet speeds perfectly fine. You really only need to start thinking about CAT6 or higher if you're working in a data center, if you need crazy 10 gigabit per second speeds, or maybe if you're wiring a brand new building and want to future-proof it for decades. And as we wrap things up, I just want to put this one rule back on the screen. Seriously, if you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. It doesn't matter if you pick A or B, just make sure both ends of the cable match. If you do that, you'll avoid like 90% of all the potential problems right off the bat. So there you have it. From understanding its specs to crimping your own connectors, you are now totally equipped to master this unsung hero of the internet. It's so much more than just a cable. It's a tool for you to create fast, stable, and super reliable connections. So the only question left is, what are you going to go build with it?